What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession podcast episode. My name is Sam Thrash. I'm hosting you guys. Thank you for pressing play on another one of our episodes. This week, we're back. We took a week off last week, had some unexpected changes in our publication and recording schedule, and some other stuff going on, so we decided to take a quick break from the show, and now we're back at it, especially as we're getting close to fall hunting seasons here. Got some really good episodes coming up for you guys, including this one. My guest is Cable Smith. He's the host of the Lone Star Outdoor Show. You guys might have seen him on social media or maybe have listened to his show. He's been doing this for quite a while. So we talk with him not just about his show and how he got into hunting and all that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, that's only a brief part of our conversation. The reason I invited him on this podcast was to talk about some conservation issues, because he is very, very plugged into what's going on in the world of wildlife and hunting conservation and everything like that. And in a world where that is a unique environment in and of itself, it's definitely a whole lot to digest and talk about when it comes to that. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm going to be dwelling on topics that we have that we've talked about on the show before. My goal anytime we talk about wildlife conservation on here is to kind of have some forward movement with it, some relevance to the current times that we're in. Certainly, we reference events of the past, even some that have just transpired recently, like a public land sale and everything. But we are definitely focused on what's coming down the pipe and the impact it's going to have on hunting. So we talk about all sorts of different stuff in that regard when it comes to hunting, wildlife management, the animal rights and anti-hunting extremists and kind of their agenda and how they try to push those things. We talk about new hunters and what a new hunter's perspective should be if you are just now getting into hunting, but also seeing all this stuff happening on social media and throughout the United States with these attacks on hunting and conservation, and what you do with that information and what that means for you. So, and another piece of information that is very important that we will talk about in this and that I want you guys to pay attention to moving forward is IP28. It is coming to Oregon. They're trying to get it on a ballot for 2026. It's called the Peace Act, which sounds pretty harmless, right? But it's animal rights extremists that are trying to basically remove exemptions for animal cruelty type stuff, which the way they've worded everything is by definition hunting or the intentional injury or kill of an animal. So in a roundabout way, they're trying to basically ban all hunting in Oregon next year. So kind of a big deal that's suddenly surfacing. Again, it's IP28. Go look it up. It's called the Peace Act. And we talk about it a little bit on this show. So great episode, a long episode. Get your popcorn ready. We got a lot of good things to get into and talk about with Cable. We talk about more than just conservation. We also get into sharing some hunting stories and just having just one of those wholesome conversations that I enjoy, talking about hunting and archery and the outdoors and all that kind of stuff. So it's a stellar podcast, guys. Don't go away. Keep listening. Before Cable joins us, though, a little bit of housekeeping. You guys know the drill. Whatever platform you are streaming this podcast on, please hit the follow, like, subscribe button, whatever they have up there for you guys. Turn your notifications on if that's an option. That way you know every time we drop a new podcast episode. We drop the audio versions of our podcast every single Monday morning on all the popular podcast apps and Carbon TV and YouTube. And then if you like watching the podcast videos, you can find those on Thursdays on our YouTube channel of the same week that the audio drops. Head on over to that YouTube channel. Got a lot of awesome stuff on that channel. Got some new episodes of some shows coming out this week that you guys are not going to miss. Some of our other productions that we have. You guys can find our films on our YouTube channel. And if you check out the shorts section, you can find the one-shot challenge videos that our team's been doing across the country this year, challenging each other to some archery trick shots. Pretty cool to see all that develop. A lot of great stuff on the YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss out on anything. Social media, all the major platforms, wherever you're active, Fall Obsession's probably there too. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X. We are on all of those platforms. Make sure you are following along. fallobsession.com. That's the website. That's the hub, if you will. Everything filters through there. All of our content, our shows, our films, our podcasts, educational articles, gear reviews, wild game recipes, online store. It's all there for you guys. Go check it out. And be sure you are subscribed to our newsletter. We'll send you some emails. We won't spam you out of existence or anything like that. But we do email out some frequent updates and perks and discount codes and some other stuff that we're planning on doing as we move into the fall. Don't miss out on that. Again, fallobsession.com. That's the website. You can subscribe to the newsletter at the bottom. Don't miss out on that. And last but not least, if you guys have not heard of Carbon TV, you need to go check it out. Carbon TV is a free hunting and outdoor streaming app where you can find hundreds of different hunting shows, films, and podcasts on that platform from all these different creators across the country in all sorts of different genres of hunting in the outdoors. There's something for everybody on Carbon, guys. I'm dead serious. You will find 4 different Fall Obsession produced shows and productions on the Carbon platform. This podcast streams on there, as well as our staff-inspired video podcast series that Todd does called Couch Chats. And then we have 2 different hunting shows on Carbon TV titled Texas Dirt and Midwest Mindset. Guys, go check them out and start streaming for free today. You guys are about to be the first to experience a new podcast intro. We're debuting it on this episode. Same theme, same feel, just freshened it up with some new highlights that we're including in it. So enjoy that. And on that note, we are going to get Cable in here and talk about some hunting and conservation issues. You guys are listening to another Fall Obsession podcast.
The power lies within that middle ground.
Hunting transformed my life.
I think you have to be built somewhat different.
That Dale Brisby's a super puncher.
When you get Pop-Tarts on the next Walmart order. I'm serious.
Because to come into this country and stay dedicated to that, it was pretty awesome.
If it's only for one, then you've done your job.
We have to do what's right for the wildlife, and that's our responsibility as hunters. Fall Obsession Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Fall Obsession podcast episode. I'm Sam, hosting you guys. This week, my guest is Cable Smith. He's the host of the Lone Star Outdoor Show. Welcome to Fall Obsession Podcast, man.
Thanks for having me, Sam. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one, man. I've got some, I don't know if I would say awesome stuff written down for us to talk about, but definitely some stuff that's gonna constitute a good conversation, I feel like. But before I dive into it, just for our listeners of our show, I know you do this a lot, and you're no stranger to a microphone, but give our listeners an idea on who you are and kind of how you got into hunting.
Yeah, so I actually started hunting later in life. I grew up camping and backpacking, and mostly fishing. My dad is a passionate bass fisherman, but I was really involved in sports, competitive sports, soccer, baseball, high school football. So that stuff was kind of just recreational stuff. It wasn't stuff we did all the time. And then went to college, and had a lot more free time, and I was like, I got a lab with a girlfriend, and she left, and he stayed, and it was like, my buddy was like, bring your dog, we're going duck hunting, and I was like, what do you mean we're going duck hunting? Like, what? I don't know anything about that. I know the dog's afraid of fireworks, though, and he's probably not going to like guns. But they're like, no, come on, nobody else has a dog. He's going. So I had this chocolate lab. His name was Maverick, big dog, like 100 pounds, and I guess he was probably like 2. And I was in my early 20s, and I guess I was probably like 19 or 20. And I waited tables. I told him, I was like, you got to give me a couple weeks because I got to save up. Like, I guess I got to buy a shotgun. Like, I don't own a gun.
Yeah.
So I bought a 870. You know, back then it was probably like $170 or something. And then bought a hunting license and went duck hunting. And the dog, every time we shot, and I think they were pretty new, or hadn't done a lot of duck hunting on their own, because they were all terrible shots too. Everybody just kept missing, and the dog just would I had to tie him to the blind, and he tried to run off and drag the blind with him. Finally, somebody shot a duck. It was a mallard, and I let him off of his leash, and he went and got it, and he just dropped it at my feet, and I was like, holy crap. And like, he was never gun shy again, ever. He'd go pick up a shotgun after that day, and he went and sat by the front door. So I was like, all right, I guess he likes it, and I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, so then I bird hunted for a couple years, 3-4 years. Got married and took a job at a radio station in East Texas in Texarkana. And one of my responsibilities, like I wanted to do play-by-play in sports broadcasting is what I set out to do. And but my boss was like, hey, you got to host a weekly hunting show for all of our good old East Texas rednecks. I was like, cool. I mean, I like hunting. I've done a lot of fishing. And then I was like, I guess I better shoot a deer if I'm going to like be talking about hunting and stuff.
Yeah, I better do it if I'm going to talk about it.
I'm 44. I was like mid-20s probably when I shot my first whitetail. And now I got laid off in 2008 when the economy crashed. And my wife and I moved back to North Texas. And I was like, what am I going to do with my life? You know, everybody wanted to do sports broadcasting. It's very popular in a major market. People getting paid like $1 million, you know. It was like, so it was a pretty saturated marketplace. But I was like, I really enjoyed that outdoor show because even on this little show I was doing in Texarkana, I could call up Phil Robertson, and Miss Kay would answer the phone, and she'd be like, Phil's out duck hunting. Call back at noon, and he'll record a conversation with you. Call back at noon. Phil picks. This is before Duck Dynasty. You know, it was just they had the duck hunting videos, which me and my brother watched like crackheads when we were first getting into duck hunting. And I just found that people in this industry were just so approachable, and I just fell in love with it. And I think hunting's like about as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. So whether that's deer or ducks or dove or whatever it is. So yeah, I've been like, you tell me the season and what weapon to bring, and I'll show up. I don't care. Don't discriminate. I love it all. Just like to be outside, and I like to hunt anything with. Still to this day, hunting with dogs is probably still my favorite. But the only drawback to that in this industry is the money's in deer hunting, right? So it's not a terrible consolation prize. I mean, I love deer hunting too.
Right.
But yeah, if you had to say, like, probably my favorite day of the year is September 1st, just from camaraderie with your buddies, but also your four-legged friend, and it really just kicks off hunting season. Yeah. With the dove opener. So and I love dove hunting. It's not my absolute favorite thing to hunt, but yeah, it's probably my favorite day. And my kids don't go to school from the time they were. I've got a 12-year-old son and 10-year-old twin daughters. They know they're not going to school on September 1st. And it's kind of just like our family tradition.
That's awesome. So. Yeah, I love the camaraderie side of like a dove hunting camp and stuff like that. My biggest turn off, I would say, would just be in Texas. It's so stinking hot September 1st. That's the one thing that probably keeps me from loving it more than I do. So
yeah. But it is warm. You certainly need to figure out how to manage your dog, make sure they don't overheat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. And I'll keep going as long as there's birds around until basically deer season gets there. I mean, I'll still go in October.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's not as hot then too. And everyone else has quit by then.
Yeah, they've all gotten their fill, and they're on to bow hunting or pig hunting or whatever else is next for them, going to Colorado, whatever it might be. When did your kind of your origins begin with the Lone Star Outdoor Show? Yeah,
so when I got laid off, my wife and I, she still kept her job in Dallas. She was a nurse at the time. So she was traveling, like, I think she was part-time here and then also working in Texarkana. So she just slid right back into her job in Dallas. And we moved in with my in-laws, and I started the show on their dining room table. And at the time, like what we're recording on Zoom, that didn't exist. Yeah. The term podcast didn't exist. It was I basically went to some radio stations, one to start out with, and was like, how much for me to put my show on the air on Saturday morning? And I just bought the airtime and then started calling, Jim Bob's fishing guide service on Lake Texoma and be like, hey, give me like $300 and I'll make you a commercial and I'll run it on the radio for you every Saturday morning. And I lost money probably for the first year, 18 months. So God bless my wife, because she was like, well, you're passionate about it and you seem to be enjoying it. So she stuck it out. And I think we lived with my in-laws for like probably 4 or 5 months, and we bought a house in McKinney, and we've lived in McKinney ever since then. But yeah, I started it on their dining room table, essentially. And you recorded everything over a landline at the time.
Yeah.
And so and all those episodes are still on my website, but the sound quality is trash compared to like what we have today.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen to. It's like, and also, I probably sucked as a broadcaster back then. I think you find your footing a little bit as you gain experience. So
yeah,
I don't think I'd go back and listen to those episodes. You're terrible,
dude. It's so hard. We, I mean, you've been doing this a lot longer than we have. This is episode 240 something. Well, for us is what this one will end up being. And I have a guest coming up that I'm about to record with. She's actually a returning guest to the show, but she hasn't been on the show since like somewhere in those first 10 episodes. So in me prepping, I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to an old episode in a long time. I'll go back and listen to that one and just kind of remember what we talked about back then. And I got like 10 minutes into it. I was like, I'm done. This is not, I can't believe we posted this, but it shows the journey. It shows kind of where you came from and everything like that too. So,
yeah. So at the time I would just throw up the radio show on iTunes.
Yeah.
And on my website and be like, I didn't even call it a podcast. I was like, hey, if you missed the show, you can always just find it on my website.
Yeah.
And then, pop culture and Joe Rogan really popularized that term podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And now I probably have more people listen as a podcast than on the 20-something radio stations that it airs on during the weekend.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. And you mentioned earlier, I wanted to circle back to it a little bit, but you mentioned how folks in this industry are so approachable. And I feel like social media has done its work in making folks seem so much bigger than they are, right? With the reach and the following and, people making a living off of social media in some cases. But, at the end of the day, you get folks on a microphone just having a conversation about hunting or the outdoors or conservation or fishing, whatever it might be. And everybody's human at the end of the day. It's two guys talking hunting. I had Jim Shockey on our show a couple episodes ago. And that was like, for me, I was like, oh my gosh, about to talk to Jim Shockey. Like, this is kind of a little nerve wracking, but you get into the conversation. It's like, dude, this guy's just a dude up in Canada who loves to hunt. Like, I mean, that's the reality of it. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the cool side of what a show and being able to conversate with these folks can do for you is show you that side of this industry for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I'm not saying that athletes are jerks, but they're not as approachable and, you have to go through their PR, and I've had quite a few Cowboys, Rangers, a couple Mavericks on over the years because, again, I wanted to be in sports, so I still have that love for competition and professional sports. But, you've got to go through their PR people. And, I mean, you could just send someone a message like we did.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just reaching out to see if you'd be interested in having this, visiting with me, talking hunting. Well, yeah, sure, of course, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, and social media has helped for sure.
Oh yeah, I might bring social media back up here later in our conversation, but it's certainly a blessing and a curse in a lot of different ways. But man, so kind of you just talked about it. Our initial interaction, just hey, you want to come on the show and talk about some stuff. Kind of my initial draw and what drove me to send that invitation was been following you on social media for a while, first off, but I saw some of your reels about, just conservation and some current issues. You post short videos talking about a headline or a certain topic, whatever it might be. So from the get-go, you're plugged in, you're very engaged and paying attention from my perspective. in your mind, what are some of those big conservation issues that, for you being a guy from Texas, is looking at and is concerned about in today's world?
I think with the shift to the Trump administration, some of those concerns have been quelled, like banning lead on all federal land. Like that was certainly, if Biden could have done it, and let's be honest, Biden was a moron. He didn't even know what was going on. But his people wanted to do it. And, I mean, I did a deep dive on this gal who's writing policy for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service National Refuge System. And her resume was littered with, she worked for HSUS, Center for Biological Diversity, and Defenders for Wildlife. It's like the trifecta of anti-hunting organizations.
Yeah.
And this gal is put here by Deb Haaland, who's appointed by Joe Biden, and she wants to ban lead shot on basically all public land. It's like, well, okay, why? Show me the science. You want to dictate that, but why? Because we don't, in conservation, we don't manage on an individual level. So, like California condors population negatively affected by eating carrion or carcasses that have lead shot in. Okay, fine. In California, maybe that's a good idea. The condors have rebounded a little bit. That's great. That was a population. If you're talking about individual animals, like how much lead shot would one black bear have to eat for it to be fatal? Like a whole animal of just lead shot? No, I mean like one dose of lead isn't going to kill an animal. And we're not managing for that one animal. It's for the entire black bear population. Or whatever eats it, right? I mean, so is it having those negative effects? And there's no scientific data anywhere to support that lead shot is affecting other species that are ingesting it, or humans for that matter. I mean, we don't want to eat lead shot, but guess what? We're probably getting a little bit of lead, microscopic doses when we eat the animals that we shoot, and it's not fatal. It's not killing us. It's just a shot at what does it really do at the end of the day? It's trying to make it harder for people to get ammunition to go hunting. So it's an underhanded attempt to thwart hunters. I work with Kent Cartridge and have for a long time. They've told me many times, like, if they did that, we would have to change everything in our factory to just go to all non-toxic. And that would be damn near impossible. Yeah. Or talk to federal or whoever. Like, so what it would do is price hunters out, because the price is going to go up. And then are you going to want to pay $30 for a box of dove loads? Or are you just going to be like, man, that sucks. I can't really afford to do that anymore. I really liked that, but I guess I'll go fishing or
do something else. Yeah. It's an emotional, first off, it's an emotional reaction to an isolated incident. And second, it's low-hanging fruit. It's an easy target, an easy opportunity for them to try and pass a greater agenda. That's what it boils down to. And like that's becoming the, I hate to say it, but like the common theme these days almost. And go ahead.
Sure. Oh, I was going to say, but it doesn't even end at hunters, because there are more target shooters than there are hunters. I don't know if hunters realize that. Some of us, we do both, right?
Right.
But there are more recreational target shooters, just go out and have fun, shoot with their buddies, than there are hunters. We're like 6%. Hunters are like 6% of the population. There's infinitely more people that own ARs and handguns and just want to go out on public land where you're legally allowed to shoot those bullets. Well, that would affect them too. Okay. Then it comes full circle, because now it does affect hunting, because that's Pittman Robertson dollars that we're losing because you just banned the use of lead shot on public land. And now they don't have anywhere to go shoot. And now they have to shoot, if they wanted to, again, non-toxic bullets, which are going to be more expensive. So now are these guys going to want to go spend that money? Not all of them will, which means you've now put a dent in PR dollars, which fund conservation in this country. I mean, that's the excise tax. You're aware of it. Your listeners know what it is, that we put on ourselves in, I think, 1934, willingly. And I'm happy to pay that excise tax. But can you still pay that and then pay $60 for a box of 223 just to go shoot with your buddies?
Yeah, it's completely unrealistic. Yeah. Well, that's
so that's one. I think the other main thing in today's culture is, you said the word low-hanging fruit, and what comes to mind immediately for me is always megafauna predators. Bears, wolves, mountain lions, coyotes even. People want to protect coyotes. It's just asinine. And again, show me the science. And if it dictates we need to close a season or we need to have less tags, then I'm in. Like, I don't want to extirpate like we wiped out wolves. I don't want to do that again. I don't like wolves. I don't want to see them wiped off the face of the planet. I don't want them not in North America. I want them managed in the areas that we've said this is where you can exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fair. Like,
hey guys, sorry to cut y'all off from the conversation. We'll get back to it in just a second. But first I want to tell you guys about Hoot Camo. Hoot Camo is one of the best camouflage brands out there for the blue-collar hunter. The prices, you can't beat them. The patterns are extremely versatile. They work in so many different environments. I have worn Hoot Camo hunting whitetails, hogs, and turkeys down here in the hardwoods, the mesquites, the scrub brush of Texas. I've worn it in the flatland plains of eastern Colorado hunting mule deer. I've even worn it in the mountains of central Idaho hunting elk. It works in so many different places. It is extremely high quality gear, extremely warm, holds up well against the elements. You cannot beat it. Go to hootcamo.com, use the code FallObsession15 on your next order, no matter how big or small it is, and check out everything that Hoot Camo has on there for you guys.
I don't see why anyone would have a problem with that. We don't need to put wolves back in Texas, and but that seems to be this rewilding. That's the term they like. We want to rewild everything. Well, that's a preservation mindset. Deb Haaland, again, former Secretary of Interior, she loves that. That's what she was all about, is rewilding and preservation, which means you take out the hunter. You just let everything take care of itself. Well, the wildlife loses in that situation.
Yes.
You get overpopulated. They come into cities. You see more human-wildlife conflict. And then, again, you don't have the funding because you've taken hunters out of the equation. So where's the magical money tree that all of this money for conservation is coming from? It's not. It dries up if you take hunters out. So, but those are the ones that the predators are the ones that get the antis the most riled up, and then their fan base, I guess is what I'll call it, tugs at their emotional heartstrings for whatever reason. And so it's an emotional cry to end hunting, not one that's based in fact or science, but just uneducated people that are being preyed upon by these anti-hunting groups, which at the end of the day are just making money. That's all they're doing.
Oh yeah.
It's not, so.
It's an industry. We've had a lot of conversations within the last year, I would say, about this kind of stuff. As you know, obviously we had the wolf reintroduction several years ago, and then kind of what's trickling down through Colorado since then. I know I'm talking kind of specifically about Colorado right now, but Proposition 127 last year, we did some podcasts with John Stallone, Howl for Wildlife, Dan Gates, all these guys who are heavily involved in this kind of stuff. And like John Stallone told us on the show actually pretty recently, he's like, if I wanted to be rich, I'd go work for the other side. Like if it was only about money, I'd go work for the other side, because they have it easy. They like you just said, they tug on emotional heartstrings. They prey on the ignorant and the uneducated and can just throw something out there and typically easily sway their opinion their way, and they make more money doing it, right? But obviously for us, it's not. I mean, yes, you start getting to a scale that some of these companies are at. There is a business side of it, right? They do have to have funding to do some of the stuff that they're doing, but they're doing it because they're passionate outdoorsmen and passionate about preserving hunting for the future. They're not doing it because they're trying to build a business or an empire out of it, unlike the anti-hunting groups. So it's
right. Yeah.
There's two industries I feel like they're competing with one another, and this is kind of one thing I was going to get to a little bit later, but we're kind of dabbling in it now a little bit. But we're seeing like all of these ballot box issues popping up here and there. It's starting to hit, they're preying on those uneducated voters. They're going that route with everything. What are your, I guess I'm just asking, what are your general thoughts on that? Like, has this always been there, and we just
ballot box biology?
not ballot box biology, but just the method that all of this is happening? Because I feel like it's everything coming together. We have social media just throwing everything out there. You can find anything you want on the internet, and then you have all of these conservation issues that are taking a much more a more aggressive legislative stance, I guess I should say, in certain areas. And I don't feel like we never seen this before, or is this just something we weren't paying attention to and it's been there all along?
No, we haven't seen it to this level. I mean, social media is really to blame for that. Like, say 25 years ago, where are you going to get the mentality ingrained in your brain that I'm an anti-hunter? Like, where do I get that? This has to be something you read, right? So, newspaper, magazine. I mean, that's where you have gotten that information. Now it's in your face all day, every day, and it's repetition. I mean, that's key with any kind of marketing. It's, how many times can we imprint this in this person's mind to get them to believe what we want them to? And then you have people that another, I think, thing you have to point out when talking about it is people are so far removed from the wild now. Like, not just where they get their food, but a lot of people don't go outside. They sit in the concrete jungle all day, every day. And maybe they go to the gym or something and they're physically active, but they're not experiencing the wild places that you and I love.
Right.
And so they're detached from that. And and you have, the anthropomorphism of wildlife from Disney and all these other entities where you humanize wildlife. I'll show you. Actually, I haven't made this post yet, but I'll show you this. So there's this organization that I keep tabs on called Mountain Lion Foundation, Sam, and they are ridiculous in every capacity. But this is their latest post on Mountain Lion Foundation on their Instagram. Look at that. Can you see that?
I can.
So that is a humanized mountain lion, like CGI mountain lion, holding up a cub. Like the damn thing has hands, like a baby, like a human being would hold up a baby.
Giving some Lion King vibes right there.
It's not even a real mountain lion. And the post is about Nebraska refusing to reduce the number of mountain lion permits. And so then they put this humanized mountain lion up to get an emotional response from the viewer. And mountain lion will rip your face off. So, but here they have it as this nice, cozy parental figure. Never mind that if the dad came across his own cubs, he'd kill him instantly. Infanticide is huge among cougars and black bear, for that matter. But yeah, so it's just preying on the ignorant, preying on the emotional heartstrings. But yeah, that's what you have to deal with. I will say, you asked about, or pointed out, like, how has our response been? And we have been much more aggressive. I would say when I first started doing this 16 or 17 years ago, we sat on our heels and we let the game come to us and was like, wow, why these people hate us? Why do they hate our lifestyle? We were very reactive. And I think that has clearly, the time for that has come and gone. No, so now we're being proactive. We're being more aggressive. We're hiring more attorneys. And I think we have to. If we want to defend our way of life, like, what is the alternative? It's either get more aggressive and try to play their own game, or at the end of the day, we will lose.
I know there's been other examples than this, but I do feel like last year with Colorado, like Dan Gates and all those guys up there that were heavily involved, they did a good job, I think, of not just beating them at the ballot box, but they, for your normal blue-collar hunter who might not really have been paying attention to all this up until then, all of a sudden it's more in their face and they see that, okay, we can play this game at this level. Then we have this whole public land sale that popped up here more recently, and it seemed like almost immediately there was an immediate response from your everyday hunter across the country that was, blowing up the phone line, sending emails, doing all that kind of stuff. Which, I mean, aside opinions about the public land sale and good, bad, indifferent, and all the different possibilities with that aside, it was a good representation of what this hunting community can do as a whole if they actually step forward and take action, and very minimal action when you actually look at what's required of the individual themselves, in that situation. So I do think that people are paying more attention to these things. What I worry about is for new hunters coming in that are, maybe gaining an interest on hunting and everything. And you can tell me your perspective on this. Do you feel like they are going to be intimidated and turned off by this sudden battlefield that is, the conservation side of everything?
No, I don't think they're going to feel intimidated. I think, sadly, I think when new hunters feel intimidated, it's because they feel like if they ask a question, whether that's on social media or on a hunting forum or something, that people are going to be jerks to them. And I've seen it. And, we were all new hunters at one point in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I taught myself how to duck hunt through trial and error. And I learned a lot by asking questions at the time it was the Texas Hunting Forum. And I honestly haven't been on any hunting forum in a decade. But at the time, that was like the thing. It was like chat rooms, right?
Yeah.
And but there always were some jerks who'd be like, wow, wait, that's a stupid question. I'm like, no, there's no stupid question. This person doesn't know how to do this. They're trying to learn it on the fly. Maybe their dad didn't teach them, their grandfather, or didn't have a mentor or whatever. So I feel for that person. That can be intimidating. So ask the question. Don't be afraid. You'll find what you're looking for. And hunters need to be accepting of new hunters. But at the same time, it's a catch-22 for me because I don't really want a bunch of new hunters. And it's not because I'm of the Matt Ranella ilk of I am pro-recruitment. I want to recruit new hunters. I want those hunters to have the same it might be a selfish thing to say, but I want them to believe the way that I believe.
Yeah.
Because going back to the funding component, it's ammunition sales. It is ammunition sales that is the number one contributor to PR dollars, okay? What are the two most popular calibers in North America? It isn't your 12 gauge,
Yeah.
It's not your 410. It's not your 300 Win Mag. It's 223, and it's 9mm. Those are the two most popular. So those are the ones that are driving the most funding for the things that I love. But I also, and that is even taking the Second Amendment into consideration, which has nothing to do with hunting whatsoever. But if you have these people that are now in our gene pool, right? They're in the club. They're hunters. They're buying licenses. They've got their 6.5 Creedmoor and their BHA sticker on the back of their Tacoma, but they're in the club. But if you're voting the wrong way and you don't put the Second Amendment first, then I don't have any use for you. To me, you're just diluting the rest of our ideology. What do we stand for as hunters? We should be pro-gun. We should still be pro-public land. Going back to what you were talking about, I'm a very staunch conservative. I'm also pro-public land. And our side of the fence got that one wrong. So I was very critical of Mike Lee and the whole deal. I was like, no. And it's not because some of that land shouldn't be sold. It probably should. Some of it's not good habitat.
Yeah.
And some of it should be developed for us humans, the real apex predator. It should be. But I do not trust the government. Once they start selling it, it's like carte blanche. Like, well, when do you stop? And that's for me fundamentally why I couldn't support it. Not because some of that land shouldn't have been sold, but because they'll never stop. They will not police themselves, and history shows us that. You let them have a green light to start selling it, I don't know. When will they ever stop?
Yeah.
So you can't put the genie back in the bottle on that one.
Yeah, that's. I had an episode recently with Aaron Davidson, the owner of Gunworks, and up until then, with the whole public land thing, I personally had been very just in the rut of no, not 1 acre. you cannot.
Well, he's
you
from
will.
Utah, so he's like
Wyoming,
He's got
yeah.
probably a different.
Yeah.
Oh, Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was interesting talking to him because we got on to that topic and another show host just Johnny Mac from Soul Seekers. He lives close to me. We talked just randomly on the phone one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't make a single post about it. I have a different opinion about it." And we talked about it, and then his opinion is similar to Aaron's. From what I recall, Aaron talked about. He's like, "I live in Cody, Wyoming. I don't." He said, "I'm struggling to hire employees because there's not enough housing, affordable housing." In this area for me to employ people. He's like, I support roughly 100 families in this area that work for me. But he goes, and he told me on the podcast, he's like, I've had 2 employees like in a bidding war over the same house before. Like they're trying to move there. And he said, but I'm looking at this piece of, flat sagebrush land that not a single soul ever visits, that deer and elk and all these creatures don't live on. And he's like, well, why can't there be houses there? But he also agrees that the trust in the government's not there, like you just said, and that the means they went about it was arguably not the right way. But at the same time, he had a different perspective. I was like, okay, I need to open my mind a little bit because I do agree with that. I do see his side of it. That does make sense. But at the same time, we as a whole, as a hunting community, definitely planted our flag in the sand on that one, and drew that line pretty hard.
And Republican, Democrat didn't matter. We all came together on that.
And I think that scares them too.
What I need for the other side is to do the same thing on the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. Like, can they do that? Do they have the stomach for that? Because a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't think we should own ARs. People that used to be the head of backcountry hunters and anglers do not think that we should have ARs in our gun safes. Period. Ryan Bussey was the chairman of the board there, ran a very failed campaign for Montana governor, got like 36% of the vote, thank God. He wrote a book called Gunfight. This is a dude that worked at Kimber Firearms for 2 decades, has $1 million house paid for by gun sales from Kimber Firearms, and then writes a book called Gunfight. And he says in the book how the firearm industry racialized and radicalized America. And is not a fan of the Second Amendment. He likes his hunting rifles and his fancy over-under shotgun that he goes and shoots grouse with. But that's not the mindset that I want in my ranks, telling me that we shouldn't own ARs. He literally told me that. If that's the person that we're recruiting, I just assume them stay on the fence or on the other side and just not even get involved.
No, that's true.
Because then you validate that. Then you say, well, not all hunters think we should own ARs. Well, every hunter damn well should think we should own ARs. It has nothing to do with hunting. We're in Texas, of course we shoot pigs with ARs.
Of course we do, yeah.
Most people don't have an AR because they're going pig hunting. They have an AR because it's their constitutional right, shall not be infringed. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, it pumps money into conservation. Thank you very much for that too.
Sure does.
So.
No,
that's my biggest hang-up. You have the stones to join us on that because we damn sure showed out for public land.
No, you're 100% right. And I agree.
I'm very opinionated on it. And my opinion might be wrong, right? But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what any of our opinions are. There's always going to be somebody out there that challenges it or disagrees with it, right? But at the end of the day, just speaking in general terms, I do agree with that new hunters coming in. Kind of going back to the original question or topic I brought up was, there might be this daunting task of, oh, well, I have to support hunting in all of these different ways now. But to your point, that's part of the deal at the same time.
That's a great point too, and one that I forgot to bring up. I always use this as the analogy. If you say, I'm a hunter, so I'm a new hunter, okay? Mm-hmm. But the words out of your mouth are, I'm a hunter, but... You're out. You're out of the club. There's no but. You don't get to say, but I don't like trapping, but I don't like hound hunting, but I don't like hunters that shoot black bears. If but is the next thing out of your mouth, no, there's no but. There's no caveat. You're in or you're out. And you don't have to do it, right? You don't want to hunt with hounds. You find that unsporting. I find it to be the best management tool available. You put a cat up a tree, which I've done. You can sex it. You can age it. You're like, oh, that's a female. We're going to let it go, which I've done.
Mm-hmm.
Wait for a male. That's conservation. You put a bear up a tree. Well, the hounds do it, and then you benefit from their work. But houndsmen are not slapdicks, dude. Every one of those guys, they do it for the dogs. They're not doing it for any other reason than they love the dogs, and they are passionate about it. And then they'll take you hunting, and now you know, that bear's probably only 3 years old. Let's find a 6-year-old bear, you know? But there's no but. Like, you're in or you're out. And the trapping is another one. Oh, such low-hanging fruit. There's so many, even hunters, that I don't consider to be these new recruits that are like, trapping is disgusting. Why would you do that? How inhumane is that? Well, no. Trapping is literally what drove westward expansion in this country long before the gold rush. It was the beaver trade, and that pushed everybody west.
Mm-hmm.
And trapping is a great management tool. I love it. I still do it. I'm not super proficient at it, but
no,
I really enjoy it.
And in that too, there's a line between what, just, you know, not being supportive of something just because you don't care for it, and, well, is it ethical? Are the people who want to do it, is it an ethical way to do it? You brought up trapping. I do not have a lot of experience just personally as a trapper. I just don't. I don't oppose it. I don't have a problem with it. I just haven't done it a whole lot. I think it was Texas last year or two. They changed their laws to where, and I might be misquoting this a little bit, but like trapping mountain lions in Texas, they put a stipulation in there that you had to, if you trap a mountain lion, you have to be there within 36 hours or something like that to take care of it, or
mandatory trap checks.
Yeah, exactly.
I went and spoke out against that organization at the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission meeting. Yes, summer of 20. Was it 2? I believe.
Okay.
It was 21 or 22. But yes, you're talking about, this group is called Texans for Mountain Lions.
Hey folks, if you guys are in the North Texas area like I am, then you need to go to Bear River Archery and Pro Shop in Van Alstyne, Texas. Justin and the guys up there have an incredible operation set up. They will take great care of you and all of your archery needs. They are the official bow shop in North Texas of Fall Obsession. I love going there, and I'm picky. If you guys know me, I am very selective on who I let work on my bow. I will let Justin work on my bow. They do great stuff. Check out Bear River Archery and let them know that Fall Obsession sent you.
And it's run by a popular filmmaker from West Texas. He puts on this front like he's some good old cowboy. Dude, he's an activist. He might shoot an elk. He might shoot a deer every year or whatever. He doesn't shoot predators. And I know this because I had him on my show, and we got sideways over predator contests. And he doesn't think they should exist. He thinks they should be outlawed. And I'm like, well, what is it to you? And I'm not saying his name because we have cease and desist letters against each other.
Okay.
From our attorneys. Okay. I just call him Voldemort. But you can find him, and you can look up his stupid movies. You can find pictures of him getting photo ops with Beto O'Rourke, if that tells you where he is at in life, you know.
Okay.
Hell yes, I'll take their AR-15s. Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, failed 3-time Texas political candidate.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so they wanted to implement quotas in South Texas. They wanted to do all these studies. They wanted to have mandatory harvest reporting. They wanted to have trap checks. Basically, they want to get rid of mountain lion hunting is what they want to do at the end of the day. And they think trapping is absolutely despicable behavior. Now, these people all spoke at this commission meeting, as did people like myself and houndsmen and sportsmen. But who do you think joined them to speak? And this is how you know you're on the wrong side of the fence. If you're on the same team with Defenders of Wildlife, PETA, HSUS, Sierra Club, CBD, you ain't on my team.
Yeah, all these animal rights and extremists, yeah.
So you can't look me in the face and tell me that you're pro-hunting when this is your constituent base, all anti-hunting groups. Yep. And their speeches were all just about emotional crap with, I love seeing mountain lions. Guess what? You never see them. You never saw a mountain lion. You never did. Nobody does.
You know who sees them?
Put
Hunters.
them up a tree with a hound. Exactly. You didn't see a mountain lion, so don't tell me, oh, I love seeing the mountain lions. Like they come hang around my back porch. Bullshit. They did not. They do not. You're lying. It's all just a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're also taking away the real people that have a vested interest in that, because I'm not some bloodthirsty hunter. I'm not going out and shooting a mountain lion like randomly in Texas. Nobody is, once again, because nobody sees them. The ones that get shot in Texas without the use of dogs just happen to be stalking a deer feeder, and a whitetail hunter gets lucky.
Mm-hmm.
That's very rare. But they painted this picture like all Texans are out trapping and murdering mountain lions, which is just so. Have you ever seen a mountain lion?
Personally, no. I have not.
Right, and you hunt a lot.
Yeah.
Right, and you're not going to see one. I mean, mountain lions get seen when they want to get seen. So the whole thing was just a big lie. But the people that would have been the most affected were the big ranchers out in West Texas who wouldn't be able to manage predator populations on their own property.
Yep.
Like we treat mountain lions like coyotes. Guess what? Mountain lions are doing pretty dang good in Texas. Their population's expanding, both in South and West Texas. There's multiple reasons for that in South Texas. It's because what is king in South Texas? Whitetail deer. It's like we've provided a buffet for them.
Yeah.
Right? We manage for whitetail deer. We take cattle off of property just so we can have whitetail only.
Yeah. Bigger
this
deer.
is a whitetail paradise. Well, because that attracts mountain lions, right? It should.
Yeah.
And does. So now I get all fired up about that. But the Texans for mountain lions, bad group of folks. Not bad humans, just uneducated, ignorant, trying to prey on the emotions of all the weak-minded people out there.
Yeah. Well, and there are organizations like that, and this is a good segue into another thing I want to talk about with you, and something that wasn't on my notes to talk about until literally this morning, because that's when I first saw it in my social feed. But there are organizations out there that are like at the surface level, or a newer hunter, just not picking on them, just using them as an example, right? Mm-hmm. Reading the title of that organization might not come across as, an animal rights or anti-hunting extreme organization, right? But once you start diving in, they are. Have you seen this thing about the Oregon Peace Act that's trying to hit a ballot for 2026? This is what popped in my feed this morning.
I think I've heard about something in Oregon recently, but you're going to have to refresh my memory.
So, and I am, like, I had a few minutes after I saw this and before I had to do other stuff before this podcast to write some stuff down. But PEACE is an acronym. It stands for People for the Elimination of Animal Cruelty Exemptions in Oregon. And they're trying to pass, it's labeled IP28 right now in Oregon. And it's essentially, they're against animal abuse, neglect, and all this kind of stuff. But you start diving into it, it redefines animal cruelty in the state of Oregon, and basically would ban hunting. It bans any activity for the intentional injury or killing of animals. And then there's other things in there that put some restrictions on it just from like a domestic standpoint with just owning pets and stuff like that. But at the surface level, it's, no more animal cruelty. The Oregon Peace Act is what it's called, which if you don't even look at anything other than that, like what does that even say about animals? It says nothing about animals. But you start diving in, and it would effectively ban all hunting in the state of Oregon. And they're trying to put this on the ballot for 2026.
Yeah. I think it was, I did see like a little blurb on this from Sportsman's Alliance. If y'all don't follow them, you should. They do a great job of keeping track of all of these anti-hunting pieces of legislation that are being introduced on the state level and nationally. But I did see something on that. And the way they write these things is intentional. Such a broad description, right?
Yeah.
And then they can just enforce it however they want. Well, okay. Well, so then the law is just open for interpretation when you don't really write down what you mean. But yeah, that could, if you say animal cruelty, well, okay, is it cruel to hunt an animal? Well, then who's deciding that? Some left-leaning judge?
Yeah.
Probably. If it's in Oregon.
So I saw a post. What popped in my feed, I pulled it up here. I follow a page called the Conservation Coalition of Washington, and that's ultimately who was tagged in it, or how it made its way to me. But yeah, basically, breeding, injuring, or killing animals equates to a felony under this thing. There's no exemptions for hunting, fishing, or farming. The only exception would be self-defense. A bunch of other conservation issues, blocks research and wildlife management. They need 117,000 valid signatures by 2026. They already have over 34,000.
Oh, they'll get it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And PETA's, of course, chipping in money. And this bill, IP28, it would lump hunters in with animal experimenters. Yeah, and this says it equates to a father teaching his kid to fish with lab testing on monkeys. Like they're saying that they're the one and the same, dude. This is ridiculous. This is what the world's freaking coming to.
They'll get those signatures because I went to Red Rocks for the first time the spring before the Prop 127 vote, and I saw Turnpike and Red Clay Strays and American Aquarium. Awesome concert. First time at Red Rocks. But outside, as you're going in, they were collecting signatures to get that on the ballot.
Were they really?
You know, oh yeah, it's people that were pro, mountain lion, and yeah, they were just and it's the way they were doing it, because I talked to them. I didn't tell them where I stood on it, but I wanted to get their spiel.
Yeah.
And they were just like, "Don't you love wildlife?" And I'm like, "Yeah.
Absolutely, love wildlife."
Well, don't you want to protect these mountain lions? Yeah. Sure, that sounds great. Who doesn't want to do that? Okay, well then you just sign right here on the line, and we're going to protect them. Well, okay, that's not exactly what that means.
No, right? You got to give me more than that.
That's how they are preying on just the random passerby. Like, And I told them, I was like, well, first of all, I don't agree with you, and I'm not a Colorado resident anyway, so my signature doesn't matter. But you'd probably take it. You'd probably take it and try to count it.
Yeah,
that's what you guys like to do.
There would be a way that they would try to pull that one off. That is for sure. Yeah, it's it is so.
So they'll get those
different
signatures, but then we have to run it back like we did with Coloradans for Responsible Wildlife Management and Howell and everybody else has to. I think the hunting community deserves a lot of credit for what we did.
Absolutely.
That. And it was guys like us from Texas that are having on Dan and giving, reposting stuff just so that everyone can see it and everyone's aware. And it was really a national effort, because what would have happened if Colorado would have lost that? Well, it'd just have been the first domino.
Exactly.
And you would have seen other blue states. New Mexico was like, oh, we can do that. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? And then maybe it ends in Wyoming. It's a pretty red state. They're probably not going to do that. Montana's getting bluer. Billings and Missoula are turning pretty blue.
Yep.
So where does it end? Luckily, I don't think some of those states have ballot box biology, but they still. New Mexico's full. Their game commission is full of leftists. And so that's another thing. Like, oh, okay, well, everyone's like, you're so political. You're always harping on Democrats. Well, yeah. Which side of the aisle is anti-gun? We already discussed that. But if you love hunting, new hunters, potential people that are wanting to get into this way of life, this is a way of life, dude. It's not. This isn't something we do like we play golf. Like,
right.
No, this is a way of life that we feed our families like this. We live it. We breathe it. It's not a Saturday morning tea time. My entire existence is God, family, hunting. Those are the things I think about.
Yeah.
Mix a little college football in there or whatever, but that's what's on my brain all the time. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to say a prayer, and the first thing I'm going to do is check my trail camera pictures. It's like the first thing I do every day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where I am traveling for whatever hunt. If I have service, I'm looking at what is at my feeder. I want to know.
Yeah.
And which side of the aisle introduces 100% of anti-hunting legislation? It isn't the Republicans. So you want to be a hunter? Then there is no I'm a hunter but and then you have to vote. Like, how do you? That's what's going to happen in Oregon. Hopefully they won't get it passed, but they could.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very dangerous when you have these blue states that have politicians who appoints in all these states, who appoints their wildlife commission board? It's the governor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
100% is. Like they appoint it. Yep. They appoint the people that align with them ideologically, and then those people are anti-hunting. And then the 40% of the rural population just has to take it on the chin when their way of life is destroyed? No, I don't think so. But
yeah, it's interesting times, and unfortunately, Colorado, getting rid of Proposition 127 was a huge win. I know Stallone and Hal and some of these guys, they're trying to use the ballot box, to their advantage in the future with the Stop the Wolf initiative and everything, and what they've tried to pave the way for with that. But I mean, even with Colorado, you have Initiative 98 that I hadn't looked at it actually in a couple weeks. I don't know if it's still floating around there, but disguised as basically an alternative agency to aid at surface level the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, but in reality it would replace them and could, within a decade, effectively end hunting in Colorado.
can you believe that?
Yeah.
You have trained wildlife biologists that are supposed to guide your state, right?
Yeah.
They've gone to school. They're educated. They're well-versed. That's their life's work. And you want to have the governor appoint some other jackasses that can just override?
It's insane.
CPW?
It's insane.
Well, it's like a secret subcommittee that if you don't get the ruling that you want from the actual biologist, you just say, no, we're going to usurp their authority by these other – they're not even biologists. They're just randos that the governor – I mean, and if we really want to dive into Colorado, it's Governor Polis's husband is the problem.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is an extreme animal rights activist.
Yeah, and they give millions a year every year to animal rights organizations and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So –
and it'll always be something, man. That's the other thing is, we can get a win. We can, Proposition 127 can be voted no. We can say, quote unquote, save public lands, but it's just they're just going to come back in a different way, and with something else every single time.
It's tiring, bro. It's so tiring.
It is exhausting, and
it is the one thing about this job that I just beat my head against the wall. I'm like, do these people not have anything better to do? Hunters just want to be left alone.
Yes.
Just let us do our thing. Because you want more wildlife or you want less wildlife? Because if you want less, take us out of the equation and you'll get what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
isn't that insane? They say they love wildlife, but they want to put us out of business so that wildlife can suffer, because that's ultimately what will happen.
Yeah. It's so backwards, man. And I mean, that's one thing I got asked recently was, because we've been last year, I would say, especially through this platform, been very vocal, very active in using it to the best of our abilities for these reasons. But I got asked, do you ever get turned off at just hunting just because it seems so exhausting because you're always focused on these conservation issues and what's coming down the pipe and what's next? And it's yeah, it is exhausting, but as the second that I actually step outside and step onto the land, it's then I'm reminded of what it's all for. And I got my 7-year-old son with me, and I'm watching him eat it up, and I know that he needs this for the duration of his life and his kid's life, and etc. It's it's worth it when you actually do that. If you summertime in Texas, you're not out there, as much as you are in the fall. You're at home, you're busy, kids stuff. You're watching all this conservation stuff happen. Yeah, it can get a little overwhelming, but as soon as you go out there, just, I don't know. I'm more at peace with it. I'm okay, all the effort is worth it, in my opinion.
So. It smells like freedom to me when I'm out there.
Yeah.
It's a freeing experience to be in the wild, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something different every day. But you pretty much know what's going to happen at your cubicle.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the same boring thing every day. But I think that's the thing. It's why why do they care what we do? Why? I don't care what they do. Like Governor Polis is married to another dude. Fine, whatever, man. That's great. You do you. You're an adult. Make your own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
How is what I'm doing affecting you, though?
Right.
It isn't. It just flat out isn't.
No, it's narcissistic
Live
control.
and let live. That used to be the party. That used to be like the mantra of the left: live and let live. And I mean, if we saw anything from COVID till today, it's flipped completely over on its side.
Yeah, 100%.
Conservatives are the ones like, actually, yeah, we want to live and let live, but you won't leave us the hell alone. Like, we're trying, man.
Yeah. No.
This is the most free country in the world. You can do whatever you want. It's the greatest country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to judge you. Like, even my religious background is not going to make me judge you. Like, you do you. God will sort it out if he's not happy with it. I mean, I sin too, right? I'm not perfect. We're all going to be judged someday. But you want to experience racism? Go to Africa. Go on a safari. You'll see racism firsthand. Go to the Dominican Republic, which shares an island with Haiti. Dominicans don't like Haitians. Haitians are darker. Like, I've seen this with my own eyeballs.
Right.
I was in 8th grade on a mission trip, and I saw firsthand. We were working with this church. The pastor had adopted a Haitian kid that was my age. He was very dark-skinned. And the last 2 days of the mission trip, we stayed in like a all-inclusive resort as like the end of the trip. And my new friend Wilson, I was like, hey, you can come stay with me. And he was like, yeah, let me ask my dad. And so he comes, and then the Dominican guards were like, he's black, he can't come in here. And I was like, I was in 8th grade, and that was the first time I saw real racism. And I was like, why can't he not? And then my mom was like, well, yeah, they don't. But then we all said, well, if he can't come, then the 20 of us are leaving. And so they let him in because they wanted the money.
Right.
But, I mean, dude, Africa is a very racist place. It's an awesome place to go hunting. But there are racist places in the world. This one ain't so bad.
Yeah.
I've seen some bad ones.
Absolutely.
Have you ever put Africa? Are you putting that on your bucket list for someday?
There's some people listening to this podcast that would hope that I say yes. I haven't really committed to it yet. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's expensive, but is it something you want to do?
There's species of animals I'm interested in taking. I don't know if I just honestly don't know if I want to do the full African experience or if that's that high of a priority to me compared to some other things. So yeah, that's the best answer I have for it right now. I would say.
Like, what species are intriguing to you?
Like a kudu and an impala. Both of those, like, I'm intrigued. I would love to have the opportunity to take either of those. But I also live and hunt in Texas, and I know that there's places in Texas that I probably could do that as well. So,
oh, dude, no, that is true.
If I just wanted the animal, let me put it that way.
Line is that a kudu in Texas is $15,000.
Hey guys, Trophy Edits is a Fall Obsession podcast partner. We all have mounts on our walls that represent a significant moment, a significant harvest in the woods for each and every one of us, and photographs can do the same. I'm sure you guys have pictures from years past, hunting with loved ones or being in the woods with family and friends that also represent those big moments. And what Trophy Edits does is they showcase those moments for you guys. Just absolutely make your pictures explode and to the level that you guys can put them on the wall and also have that memory forever represented in your home, your office, your man cave, whatever it might be. Give Trophy Edits a chance to do the work for you guys. And again, they make those pictures just absolutely awesome with their professional team of editors. So go to Trophy Edits website. The link is in the podcast description. That lets them know that you guys came from us. And use the code FALLOBSESSION at checkout to save you guys some money.
And you can go to South Africa and have an entire safari and shoot a kudu for $15,000.
True.
So, like, cost, bang for your buck, ROI, Africa is a lot more affordable than people think. But, yeah, so then what is, like, let me ask you, what is at the top of your bucket list?
Caribou.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, caribou.
Like Alaska?
Alaska, yeah. And I would say it's probably parallel to moose. Like if somebody told me like you can go this way today and shoot a caribou or this way and shoot a moose, I would go shoot the caribou. But if I had an opportunity for either of those animals, that's tip top right there. So I'm warming up.
I'm going on my second moose hunt in October in Newfoundland.
Nice.
Yeah. They don't have the giant ones there. You know, it's not like you're getting a Yukon or Alaskan moose, but you can get like a 47, 48-inch bull.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and had all the meat shipped back, like just came on an 18-wheeler. They had all the major cities in the U.S., and they were like, yeah, your meat will be back like right around Christmas. And like December 20th, I got a phone call. It was like, hey, your meat's at this refrigeration place in Dallas. I was like, sweet.
Oh.
Had to go buy a new freezer, though, just for the moose. It was awesome. And it was the best meat. My wife, she likes to eat wild game, but she's like, the moose is the best thing you've ever shot.
Really?
She's like, go do that again. So I was like, all right.
Nice.
So like 5 years later, going back.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I would love to shoot a caribou. I would love to. I think that Deb Haaland, the previous Secretary of the Interior, they didn't do us any favors closing off. And they closed massive areas of Alaska to non-resident, non-subsistence hunters. Millions of acres. So moose and caribou. No reason, no science. So that's the kind of stuff I'm saying. Like, your vote matters. And if you're really a hunter conservationist, then that stuff affects you. Caribou you can still do, though, I've priced it a bunch of times, just never pulled the trigger. But are you talking about like doing like a transport service, just drop in and do the hunt, or like going with an outfitter, or what?
I'm big on the
let's go.
I like DIY. I do like DIY, right? And it typically
so that would be
is
the
cheaper.
transport.
So yeah, I have not probably priced it anywhere close to what you have done, just because it hadn't been in the cards for me just yet. But that's my once in a lifetime for me. If I can do that one time in my life, I'll be happy. So
yeah. Well, I think I priced it. One of my buddies went 7 or 8 years ago. It was like $4,000. I think it's probably 6,500, closer to 7 now.
Yeah. Just
with the cost of fuel and everything else. But that's just to drop you off, and they're like, we'll see you in a week if the weather permits, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the deal.
I'm also a bow only guy. I do not rifle hunt. So that's my added handicap that I keep giving myself.
I will give you some of my caribou meat then.
Fair enough. No, I
shoot it at 300 yards with a 300 Win Mag. I love bow hunting. This elk is one of my most prized things I've ever taken. I shot that one in New Mexico DIY with a bow. But I'm not a purist. Like, I'll bow hunt during October. I'll go on a dedicated, archery elk hunt, or on one safari to Africa. I just took my bow, I got a sable with it. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
So I enjoy it, but I'm not like a diehard like you are. But I do respect the people that are like, nope, I don't gun hunt. Because every trophy, some of those deer back there, what 100, 120.
Oh, behind me right here? Yes. Yeah. So
that's, to me, that's like shooting a 160 with a gun.
Yeah. So, and these are
the trophies way better.
This is kind of a sentimental wall. I don't know if I've ever tilted the camera up on the podcast, but we got a couple large ones at the top. So this is a mixture of both me and some of my dad's deer. So,
cool.
And this is mainly from like the first 7, 8 years that we were hunting together. These are like some of the bucks that we took and everything, both of us. So my dad's the kind of guy, he's told me, he's like, I'm going to be dead one day and you're going to have them anyway, so just take them now. So that's how they ended up on my wall. But yeah, it's kind of cool just to have that to look back on. And a lot of, they're not monster bucks. I have the two biggest whitetails I've ever shot are in the living room. So this is just my little office podcast area.
Yeah, but don't you? I mean, you're a diehard bow hunter, so you understand, like, anything taken with a bow is a trophy.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially a mature buck, whether he's 120 inches or a 170. You've done something if you've killed a mature white-tailed deer with a bow.
So I don't want to come across as a I am bow only, but I don't want to seem like I'm killing all these beautiful bucks with a bow, because these are all from like back the, early mid 2000s back here. I was not bow only at the time. The last deer that I shot with a rifle is my biggest buck to date, 140-inch 8-point. Beautiful, beautiful buck. I was tickled to death, but it was so easy. Never seen the buck before in my life. Sitting on a ridge, got there late, got to the lease late, just went and sat on a ridge in blue jeans. And this deer walks out at 150 yards 20 minutes in. And I was like, I gotta shoot that thing. That thing's huge. So I shot him, tickled to death, but then I was bow hunting and rifle hunting at the time. I was like, that was so stinking easy. So the next year, that's when I went bow only. And this upcoming season will be my 12th year bow only. And I have yet to shoot a mature whitetail buck with a bow. It's
not easy.
It is not. In 12 years, I have not shot a mature whitetail buck with a bow. I've shot a mule deer buck with my bow. I've shot a pronghorn in Montana with my bow. I went on an elk hunt with my bow and was 51 yards from one. I just didn't have a clear shot and all the dead, deadfall and everything that was in the mountain in Idaho. But, there's definitely been a couple opportunities that I did not take advantage of as I should have, where I should have shot a whitetail buck with my bow. And I've shot some management and cull bucks, like some younger bucks. But what I would consider a true, mature, I don't want to use the word trophy, people. I don't want to frame myself as a trophy hunter, but trophy whitetail buck, still have yet to do with a bow. So
you'll get it, man. I mean, you're dedicated, which I admire that. I admire the guys who I don't know and that's the beautiful thing about hunting, is everyone can have their own personal set of convictions, right? Like, again, you do you. Like, I don't care.
So
if it's legal, I'm supporting you. And bow hunting is infinitely harder than gun hunting. So if that's your jam, like, I'm going to celebrate it when you find success.
People have asked me.
I know how hard it is. That's the thing. I know how hard it is. It's hard. But you do this for a living, which is, I think, for me, one of the reasons why I never was like, I'm bow only, is because stuff needs to get shot. At the end of the day, I'm going to go, because you go on, especially when you start traveling, it's like, okay, I'm going to go to Newfoundland. And the outfitter is investing in me because he wants me to bring people back, or he wants people to see that I shot a nice moose there or a nice bear there or whatever. Well, that doesn't work. Like, if you're like, well, I'm only going to take the bow, and if I don't get one, then I'm not saying we've wasted our time, because no hunt is a waste of time, but it's just like, are we getting what we wanted to out of that experience, where we both want to come out on top? So I think that's why I like to bow hunt during October. Archery elk is by far that is the best thing in the whole world for me. Like, bar none, during the rut, third week of September, DIY, there is nothing better than archery elk hunting. And I suck at it. I've killed 3 and I've wounded 2, and I've missed 2 or 3 in all over the West. Wyoming, Montana, New Mexico, Colorado. I've played in all of those playgrounds, and it's some of my best memories of my entire life.
Yeah.
But if a Texan can go do it and kill a couple, like, anybody can.
That's the thing, man. It's like, I've certainly been discouraged, and there's definitely been times where it's been like, oh man, it'd be so easy just to whip out a rifle right now and be done with this thing, right? But the times that I have been successful have been some of the most rewarding times of my life, and that's what keeps me coming back to it. I've always loved archery. I'm picky about my equipment. Everything has to be precise, and I find love and enjoyment in that, and making sure everything's dialed, and shooting long range with my bow, and doing all these great things. I went a couple years ago, I went to Colorado on this mule deer hunt, and it's practically Nebraska. It's like northeast Colorado. It's flat. It is rifle country. It is not built for bow hunting. The landowner up there, I went with a friend on our team here at Fall Obsession. It was his grandparents' land that we were hunting on, or hunting around, with the permission pieces we had outside of there. But anyway, he told me, he was like, nobody's ever bow hunted out here. Like, in 30 plus years, nobody's ever killed a deer with a bow or bow hunt out here. And I'm like, challenge accepted. Let's go.
Yeah.
And day 3, I crawl through a CRP field 400 yards to get to a bedded buck and shoot him at 28 yards. never done that before in my life. Seen it on the movies, right? That was the extent of my experience. And literally, there were times in that stalk I was like, well, I saw this on a hunting show one time. I guess I'll see if it'll work. And sure enough, it worked. And that was one of the most rewarding hunts of my life because I worked my butt off for that. And
has your adrenaline ever been higher than when you made the decision to come to full draw on that buck after that stalk?
No. Like it was insane.
I mean, I already knew the answer.
It was insane, man. Like, and because it was so flat, the two guys I was hunting with, they were parked like a mile, not quite a mile, it was less than a mile, but they were parked up on this hill, like way out of the way, just glassing and they were able to watch the whole thing happen, right? Mm-hmm. And so immediately right after I shot this deer, they're coming off that hill and coming down there to recover him with me and celebrate with me and everything. And that was a special experience. And it also came, I'm getting off into one of my stories, and you're the guest on the show, so I apologize.
I like to hear your stories, though.
They 2 weeks before I went up there in Texas, I had released an arrow at a really nice buck, a mature whitetail buck here in Texas. And it was one of those deals where he moved. I had to guess the yardage. I didn't have time to range him. The trail that he was on, I had ranged, but I was 4 yards off with my shot, and he ducked a lot more than I should have been prepared for. I hit him high. I lost the deer. So, and that's coming right into this more extreme mule deer hunt now, my first mule deer hunt ever, and I'm like, I'm lacking a little confidence in the archery world because I'm like, golly, I just lost a buck, and now I gotta make it happen, probably at long range on a mule deer. Like, how's this gonna work? And then, like, to be able to sneak in, shoot one at 28, watch that arrow sink exactly where it's supposed to be, watch that deer run off, and watch him drop. Like, those guys told me, they were like, they said they didn't even know that I shot. Because it happened so quick. I was at full draw. I got him to stand out of his bed and immediately put my pin where it needed to go. It was pretty close already, and released that arrow. And from there, and there's like, it looked like he just stood up and ran off. Like he said, you shot the second he was on all fours. And they said that they didn't realize that I had actually shot him and killed him until I threw my arms up in the air and started jumping up and down in the middle of this field. So I was ecstatic, man. I've never felt anything like that, and that's bow hunting for you. That's in my mind. That's why I do it.
I mean, like a 300 Win Mag has quite a bit of forgiveness if you're off an inch or two.
True.
Or four.
True.
You said, what made me think of this story, and I've told it on my show many times because it's the one probably that sticks with me more so than any other failure I've had in hunting. I was DIY in New Mexico and had a massive 6x6, biggest elk I've ever come to full draw on. And I had ranged this tree where I was like, I know he's coming here. Like, my buddy was calling. He's like, he's coming. Couldn't see him yet, but I was like, he's going to walk right in front of that tree, and I ranged it was 40 yards. And when he got there, he stopped, and I shot him, and I could see the arrow sticking out. It got good penetration, but it was high. And we went over there, and he was 34 yards. You could see where he turned. So I shot him for 40, and he was 34, and that was 2 or 3 inches difference on elevation. And I went right over his lungs. Never found him. Found a little bit of blood. Looked for a day. Looked for birds. I'm pretty sure it's no man's land, but
yeah,
elk are tough bastards. And but that one haunts me still. I mean, that's one arrow I want back. And it was like the same thing. You said you shot him. It was like a 4-yard discrepancy. And bow hunting's a game of inches, and 4 yards doesn't seem like a lot, but it's massive. It can be for sure. Even on an animal as big as an elk, where the elk doesn't even duck. That's the really cool thing about elk, is they're not fast twitch animals like a whitetail.
Yeah.
So normally they might hear it, but they don't know that an arrow's coming.
No, man, there's been,
that one tears me up.
Yeah, there's been plenty of arrows I wish, like you just said, I wish I had back as well. But that's hunting for you too, and that's the side of hunting that, social media. We talked about that earlier a little bit. It doesn't always show it, right? But in reality, if you hunt for any significant amount of time and you're passionate about it, diligent about it, consistent with it, it's going to happen. Doesn't matter what weapon you use. You're going to lose an animal at some point. And you're going to get that, your stomach's going to drop, and you're going to have that, feeling like you're going to puke because you're so sick about it. But that's the side that not a lot of people talk about. But that's hunting. It's not getting, it's hunting. So,
I mean, I was pissed because I am a trophy hunter. I don't care. I say it but what is a trophy? Well, a trophy is three things to me. It's experience. Where are you? Who are you with? Well, how hard did you have to work, right? Like your blue jean hunt. Nice buck. Wasn't that hard, right? But when you put in blood and sweat equity for a week in the backcountry, that makes it that much more special. So that's part of the trophy. The meat's part of the trophy. Like when I lost that elk, I was like, well, that was 700 pounds of meat. Well, really probably 300, but once it's clean and everything. And then the rack, and I love rack. I mean, I do like that. I love that aspect of it. I like, because to me that's like I killed the biggest male, which means theoretically the smartest, the one that's pressured the most. That means I did something. So to me, like, trophy hunting has this negative connotation, but what does it really mean? Beneath it all, it means you tricked the baddest mofo out there.
Yeah.
And you went toe to toe with him, and you outsmarted him, or whatever. Or you got lucky. You were in your blue jeans and you shot it, whatever. But, I think those three things, experience, meat, and then the rack, that's all of the trophy to me.
Yes, I shoot doe.
But people just think you just mean a big
rack,
a
big antlers. You got to have these big antlers. And no, I've passed on 3 and 4 year old deer before that would look great on the wall just because it wasn't their time. The buck I shot up in Colorado, he was for the most part, he would be considered a young mule deer, right? But to me, like, I am on a very hard hunt. I'm in an environment where, like, the cards are stacked against any bow hunter. Doesn't matter how experienced you feel or truly are out there. Cards are stacked against you. So for me, it's like I'm a hunter of opportunity out here. Now, I could have shot on the second day just a little forky, and I didn't. Or could have, I don't know if I would have shot him. I would have flung an arrow at him, right? Hitting him might have been something different. But I had an opportunity to fling an arrow, and I didn't. There's a balance there, but at the same time, I didn't shoot a 5 or 6 year old, 7 year old mule deer or anything crazy like that. I shot a younger mule deer, but the amount of effort that went into it for me, for still this animal that is 200 plus pounds on the hoof, it's like, golly, this is bigger than any whitetail I've ever shot in Texas. Like, to me, that was a trophy. Elk hunting in Idaho last year, it was like, man, I'm bow hunting in some of the most aggressive country I've ever been in my life. Soon as I get an opportunity to fling an arrow at a legal bull, I'm going to do it, right? I don't
know. That depends for me. Like, it depends how far back I'm in, honestly. Like, I'm not where I've hunted in New Mexico. The place I've drawn 4 elk tags in New Mexico, and when I'm in 7 miles backpacked in, I'm not shooting a cow. I'm not shooting a spike. I'm just not. Like, if my freezer wasn't full, I'd be like, well, sure. But it usually is with something. Pigs, deer, whatever. Red stag, some exotic axis deer. But I don't know. That's like, because having packed them out before, like, it's just like, no, I've done it and it's backbreaking. And how old are you? I'm 44. Today's my birthday. I'm 44. I'm like, I don't know. The older you get, do you know who Dan Einfalt is? He's one of the best bow hunters I think he's from Michigan.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. There's so many different places that you guys can tune in to Fall Obsession Podcast, and one of them is the Outdoor Call radio app. Outdoors Dan from Respect the Game TV, he created an app that you can download on any device where you can stream hunting shows and podcasts on a loop every single day. Our show, Fall Obsession Podcast, plays on that loop on Mondays. That's the same day as our new publications on the other apps. And there's also tons of other hunting shows and podcasts on there that you guys can listen to. Go download the Outdoor Call Radio app today. It is free. You can start streaming immediately. And be sure that you follow their Facebook page, because Outdoors Dan does some live radio shows throughout the week. And even if you are not local to those radio stations, his broadcasts are shared on his Facebook Live. It's Outdoors Dan and the Outdoor Call Radio app. Go download it today.
I had him on my show. This had to be a dozen years ago.
Yeah.
But he has a wall of monster deer, and he was known for finding the little tiny pockets like where you wouldn't think a buck would be.
Yeah.
Because it was too close to traffic or something. And and I saw this thing. He's older now. He's probably in his late 50s, early 60s. And he said, and I never thought about that until he said it. He said, you have about a 10-year window where you are at your physical and mental peak as a hunter. And that's when you have to capitalize and kill all these big animals as if you're a trophy hunter. But then he followed it up, and I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense, and I'm probably coming to the end of that, you know. I think in your early 20s, some people are really good at it in their early 20s, but I think there's a curve there of, like, how much experience do you have?
Right.
And then how well are you taking care of yourself physically? But he said he killed all these big deer. If he could go back and do it, though, all over again, he might not do it because he said he was a terrible family man. Terrible. And I don't know if he lost his marriage or if his kids were in him or anything, but
Right.
he did say, he was like, I invested everything I had into deer hunting, and my family life suffered. So I don't know. There's definitely, you got to figure out how to.
Yeah, and it's different
where's
for
the
everybody
balance?
because exactly it's what your personal balance can sustain. I'm a fireman. I'm blessed to every time
I know from the mustache.
Yeah, exactly. I'm blessed to every time I'm off work for 96 hours. I work 48 on and 96 off. So I have 4 days during hunting season. I don't even have to take time off work, and I got 4 days that I could go to the lease and, hunt, get in a tree, do whatever else I need to do out there. But do I do that every time I'm off for those 4 days? No, I don't, because I got two young kids and a wife and at home that I still got to do. I got other obligations and stuff that has to get done. I still prioritize hunting during hunting season, but it looks different for everybody. I can't, just for me in the phase of life my family's in, I can't travel to all these different states every single year and hunt all these big animals as much as I'd like to. I tell my wife I'm good for I'm going to do one non-resident hunt a year. Like that's my goal, and I'm trying to do something different every year, and start. You talked about doing those things while you're physically able to start knocking those things off and everything. Idaho for me was, I went for the big extreme experience that you possibly could. We got invited by a good friend of ours, and it was his whole operation that we went with on public land DIY, but we were 25 miles back on horseback. Like we drove from the blacktop to the trailhead. Driving with a horse trailer was 19 miles. Took us 3 hours to drive those 19 miles because of how windy and crappy the roads were. But once we got there, then it was a 25-mile ride on horseback just to get to camp. And then we would have to saddle horses and ride to the top from the meadow we were camped in to the top of the mountain to hunt down the other side every day. So it was an extreme experience for a flatlander from Texas, elk hunting for the first time. So for me, that's just where my mentality was. It's like, okay, we put all this effort in. I'm all the way back here. I'm all the way up in Idaho hunting. Like, yeah, I would love to kill a big bull, but if I have a nice bull, or just a bull that some of these other guys might be like, yeah, it's not anywhere close to the biggest one I've killed. I was like, I'm gonna have to think about it as a bow hunter. That was just my mindset up there, and I know that's not everybody's mindset.
Oh no, but you also had horses, so that changes things too. Like, me not wanting to pack out a cow elk 7 miles, like,
on foot, man,
I
can't.
There,
yeah,
I'd be like.
And I'll tell you, man,
we'll throw
like,
her on the back of the horse.
We filmed that whole trip, and it's in we produced a full film that's on our YouTube channel about that. But watching what those mountain horses can go through, man, I was blown away. The bull that I had at 51 yards and didn't have a shot, Chris, the other guy in our hunting party that was rifle hunting, he ended up taking him. And he shot him in the spot itself was a great spot to like cut him up and quarter him out and do all that, like big flat rock on the side of this mountain. But as far as getting him from there back to the horses or back to camp, I'm looking around like this is going to be insane because it's just the most aggressive slope and terrain you can imagine. We're just on this little flat ledge with this bull. And Galen, the guy that took us out there that had the horses, he freaking rode those horses right up to that bull. And we just loaded them in the freaking saddlebags and rode them back to camp. Or we walked, but he led the horses back to camp carrying all that meat and everything. I was blown away. I was like, I did not think in a million years these horses would be able to make it to this spot, but those animals are incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with horses, I guess, because I've got like two. I like them. I just don't like to be on them because I have two bulging discs in my back.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, and I've done some of those trips in New Mexico. We'll just have horses drop us in, like at a drop camp, 7-8 miles in with a wall tent. And then like halfway through, I'm off of the horse and just holding its reins and walking with it because it hurts my back so bad.
Yeah.
But this one time, I had this horse, and it had like this terrible inferiority complex when it wasn't in the front of the line.
Yep.
It had to be first.
Yep.
And my guy told me, he was like, or the packer was like, yeah, this horse gets a little crazy, so just stay up next to me in the front. I could not keep this horse under control. And so on the way back after the week, I think my buddy and I each shot a bull that trip. The way back out, I'm on that horse, and I can't get control of him. So he's like, here, you take my horse, I'll take yours. So I get on his horse. This horse is freaking amazing athlete. And I was like, something's not right here. Like, it gave me weird vibes. I get down, and his dad drove a four-wheeler over just to see how the trip went or whatever. And he's like, oh, man, I'm surprised you're on that horse. I was like, yeah, mine was misbehaving. He's like, yeah, well, that horse, he said, I got 2 broken ribs right here because he bucked me off like 2 weeks ago. And he's like, and the way we got him was he bucked a guy off in the backcountry and he died, and so we got the horse for free. Horse had killed a guy. That's how they got the horse.
And that's the one they put you on.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God. I went from bad to, I should have just stayed on the stupid horse that liked to be first in line. Yeah, but the guy, obviously the packer, the cowboy did not tell me that little piece of information. So,
well, no, he needed you on that horse. That's funny.
I've also seen, I've done a lot of backpacking in New Mexico with my dad, like fly fishing trips where we go in. That's how I started elk hunting there. I would go on these church trips. Once I turned 21, my dad and his buddies have been doing this backpacking trip for 40 years. They're actually in New Mexico right now. I couldn't go this year. And now they don't go in 7-8 miles anymore. They might drive up to a nice campsite and then hike a mile to go fishing or something. Yeah. So it's changed because they're all in their 70s. But one of those trips when I was in my mid-20s, I saw a wrangler and 3 horses go off the side of a mountain. Not like just off the cliff, but there was a very steep grade, and they're just tumbling because the horses were attached, and one had tried to bite the other one, and then all hell broke loose. And that they lived, but I was actually in Red River skiing in January, and I was sitting in a bar there, and I told the story, and yeah, that guy didn't have health insurance. He was messed up for months. The wrangler. Yeah. So horses can be pretty sketchy in the mountains for sure.
So I was very grateful for the family that we got invited to go up there with Galen and his dad. They have this string of horses, and these horses do multiple pack trips every year like this, and they are squared away. And that, I believed him, and going in to camp for a 2-day ride, went pretty smooth. I was like, yeah, seems great. And then I was impressed with the terrain they can navigate. I didn't realize or appreciate the work that they had put into these animals to navigate this terrain or to be prepared for these trips until we were coming back out. Like the last 2 miles before we got back to the truck, as we're leaving, there's another party trying to come in, and they were like, it was 2 miles of them in shambles. Like, they had a horse just randomly tied here because they were trying to catch this other horse over here that had gotten away, and there's these dogs running around that were with them causing a stink. And the hunting party that we have, the string of horses and mules we have, relatively unfazed by these little dogs running around everywhere. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive, especially out here in the mountains when these dogs are just jumping out of bushes and stuff. And then, like, we come up on this pretty aggressive area, like pretty loose rock and sharp rocks, and there's just this huge puddle of blood on this massive sharp rock. We're like, oh, one of their critters got injured. And apparently that was like ground zero of where they fell apart. Like, one of their animals freaked out when it had to go over this big rock, ended up injuring itself on the rock, cutting its leg open. They had to take it back to the truck. By the time we got back to the truck, we saw it. They had them already patched up at that point. But again, they had just people and animals from their hunting party strewn out over the course of about almost 2 miles, and just falling apart. And that's when I was like, okay, now I really appreciate and value the quality of this string of animals that we have, because I see the opposite. No disrespect to them, like, I just see what it could be. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
I did one elk hunt in Montana with a llama, and I was disappointed. A llama can't carry much. Really, it just carried like the whiskey and then like my buddy's hiking boots. Wasn't that great? Old Jack the llama. And if you got too close to his face, he'd spit at you. It wasn't super nice, and he couldn't carry a lot. So I was kind of thought, I think horses are probably better than. No offense to anyone that has pack llamas, but.
Well, and there were just so many little things with a pack trip that I never had thought about until we're doing it. Like, we're the night before we leave his house, we're packing everything in the saddlebags and saddle panniers, and like he's getting the weight exact. Like, this one,
oh, for sure,
this one that's going on the left side of this specific animal needs to weigh 80 pounds or 78 pounds. Like, he's being precise, and the one that's opposing it needs to be exactly the same. So, like, we're spending hours the night before rearranging gear to get it precise so that the next morning we can just throw them on the horses and go when we get there. But I was impressed. I was like, man, I just never done it before. Had no idea. And it's quite the ordeal, for sure. Quite the experience. But
yeah. I'm going to burn my Colorado mule deer points for this year.
Are you?
I had 8 and my buddy had 6, so we both went in with 6. You're going with the lower part of the party, but yeah, I have, and that will be a rifle hunt in first week of November.
Nice.
But I'm excited about that.
What part of Colorado?
Man, it's and I'm not just being coy because I'm trying to like protect the unit I'm hunting.
No,
I don't remember. It's 2 units put together. And Hunting Fool told me, how many points do you have? And I told him, like, okay, this is where you need to go. So, yeah, I don't know if I have my license here or not.
That's definitely been an interesting thing we've talked about with a couple of guys that we have just internally at our company on our team.
80 units, 80-81. So
80-81.
You there.
No, you're good.
My Colorado license there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about that because I know they're anticipating, a big shift in Colorado draw applications and that whole process in 28. So we've had a couple episodes where we've talked about that recently, about when's the best time to cash in some points, because now because
they're going to be worth half.
Well, they're going to be worth half, and then even in the next 2 years leading up into there, you're going to have even more and more guys trying to cash in. So yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
I don't have a problem with it though. Like, I think the point thing can be out of control. Like New Mexico is straight draw, right? And I've drawn 4 times there for elk and a couple times for mule deer. I think there should be. I think this system Colorado's going to, where you still can build preference points, but then there's also a random draw. It's probably, we'll see how it plays out, but I think that sounds like a good system, honestly.
Yeah, as a non-resident, yeah.
Yeah. Well, but it sucks for all of us that have been building points for 10, 15 years or whatever it is, or longer for some people.
Yeah, exactly. Well, man, we've certainly been going a whole lot longer than I planned on today, but I have enjoyed the conversation. We have I'm sure there's more we could talk about if we kept going, but I got a couple closing questions, and we may have already kind of hit on these a little bit just throughout the conversation, but I ask every new guest that I have on my show these questions. First one is just tell us about your favorite hunting memory that comes to mind, like first one that pops into your mind when you're trying to. I know for a lot of people they have a lot of different events that come up, but
man, there's so many. Trapline trip I did in British Columbia was pretty awesome. First elk with a bow. I'll never forget that one.
Yeah.
Just from who I was there with and how it all played out. But the most memorable thing for me had to be the first time, my first lab. I'm on my third one now. But the first duck hunt we ever did solo. So I went with my buddies, and then I was like, well, okay, cool, I'm in. And so I went to Academy, bought some green-winged teal decoys, and was like, I'm a duck hunter now. Okay, I'm looking at Ducks Unlimited being like, well, how do you set up a decoy spread? You know, I'm doing all of these things, trying to figure it out, looking at the hunting forums and stuff. And I remember it was freezing cold, and it was just me and him, and I could see his breath. You know, it was so cold that you could see his breath and looked like smoke coming out of his nostrils. And these two green-winged teal drakes came in, and I shot both of them. Not off the water, like really shot them. And he went and fetched them, and I remember the smell of the gunpowder and how cold it was. There was a little ice on his coat, and that's probably just the most like visceral hunting memory that I have. And it was one where it was like, you can do this, you can figure this out. It was only two little green-winged teal drakes, but dude, from that point on, I mean, there was probably like a good 7 or 8 year stretch where I was duck hunting 4 days a week.
Oh wow!
Like I just couldn't stop. And anyway, I would say that one probably changed the game for me as far as the trajectory of my life and what I wanted to do with my life. And you never forget your hunting adventures, but not all of them stay with you with the same level of clarity. And for whatever reason, that one did. So, yeah.
No, I've not wondered, but I've realized that over the years, because it's been like I've talked about them, right? My biggest buck to date the last year with the rifle. Talked about this elk hunt, and these mule deer hunt. These are all circumstances that just seem larger than life in my mind. Just the peak of my hunting adventures. But then I'll get to talking mainly with my dad, because I've hunted with my dad my whole life. We'll get to talking about stories or old leases that we had or whatever it might be, and all these other little memories start popping in. I was like, oh man, yeah, that was really cool. That's when I learned to do this, or I started doing this because of this, and that kind of stuff. And it's funny what we retain and what kind of makes us revisit some of those old things. So
for sure.
Last question, and it may be the caribou for all I know, but your bucket list, what's at the top of yours? I know you mentioned the caribou, but you didn't say if that was number one.
I'm checking one off next year, 2026. I'm going on a mountain goat hunt in British Columbia.
Awesome.
Sheep, I would say sheep hunting, but so expensive. And you want to do a sheep slam. Okay, where's your $200,000, right? I mean, like, I put in for New Mexico every year, and I finally just stopped building points in the other states. Like, if it's not a random draw, I will be too old to actually do it in 20 years when I get drawn, if I get drawn. So that's out. I'd love to do that. But the mountain goat, but at the very top, I would have to say leopard, like, no doubt about it. I would love to do a leopard hunt. Very expensive. I have 3 kids. I'm not going to justify spending $30,000 on a leopard at this point in my life.
Right.
But that would be up there. I love whether it's with dogs or hunting over bait. I don't really care. I love cat hunting. I love predator hunting. So yeah, I would say that would be pretty. Cape Buffalo was. I got a Cape Buffalo, so that was a pretty cool highlight. But that's the one that is like, yeah, that would be super cool to get a leopard.
That would be cool. Wow. I think you're the first guest
I like
that's
things
ever
that
said
can kill you, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
I used to be like, no, not doing it. Like bear hunting, not doing it. I've warmed up to bear hunting. I haven't gone yet, but I'm.
So you're one of the I'm a hunter butt guys.
Trying not to be, right? I don't have a.
But you don't care if other people do
I don't
it.
have a
That's
problem
what
with
it
other
is.
people doing
Right.
it. I was just
Exactly.
questioning my own personal convictions on, do I want to hunt something that can kill me? That's been my holdup. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to. You're gonna make me self-conscious about using the word butt.
So I've done bears with hounds. I've done them over bait in Canada, and then I've done them spot and stalk in Canada as well. And all three are good. Like whether you're over bait, spot and stalk, or with hounds, like I think bear hunting is something everybody should try at least one time, and it's pretty good to eat depending on when and where. You know, like you don't want to eat a spring bear that's come out of hibernation and just eating dead stuff that it found. But fall bears are pretty good. So
yeah, well, hopefully bear baiting will stick around. I'm not necessarily gonna open up that can of worms at this point, but that's another.
We'll go for another hour if we do.
Yeah, another conservation topic to pay attention to, folks, because they're coming after bear baiting too. So, well, man, tell our listeners where they can find you, listen to the show, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's just a Lone Star Outdoors show wherever you consume your media or your podcast or whatever. You'll find me there. Instagram, Facebook, and then all the podcasting outlets. So
sweet. Simple
enough.
Easy enough for sure. Well, man, thank you for taking some time on Fall Obsession Podcast and chatting with me. I enjoyed it, and we'll have to do it again sometime. Whenever there's a whole nother round of conservation problems to talk about. So
absolutely, man. Thanks for the invite. Hope you have a great fall.
Yeah, you as well, man. Good luck to you this year. For our listeners, make sure you guys go check out the Lone Star Outdoor Show, and I will be back with you guys again next week for another podcast. Catch you then.